Previously, we wrote a script which concatenated all these files and we ended up with this merge.csv file, but we have these headers repeating in every X number of rows. So we want to do this again, but without the headers, without this and without that, just this one. So we import path, we create a path object for the directory which contains the files. We iterate over those files, we open each file, we read the content, and then we add that content to an empty string, so we keep adding to that string. But this time, we don't want to add the first line. In that case, we want to treat the content on a line-by-line basis. So currently, we have the content stored in this content variable as a string, one single string. That happens when you use the read method. But if you use read lines, what we get is a list. Let's try that here. With open files, for example, file 4.csv in read mode as file, content equal to file.read lines. Let's see what content is this time. So it's a list of strings. Each string represents one line. So it's the first line and the break line as well, \n, the second line with a break line, and so on. So now that we have this content list, we want to filter that out. So let's say new content equal to content, and we get all the items of the list but the first one. So in other words, we get from the item with index 1, this has an index of 1, this has an index of 2, 3, and so on. So we don't get the item with index 0, which is the first line. Of course, this will do this filtering for all the files, but we need the header for the first file, right? So we want to do some sort of if conditional here, right? Somewhere in here. So we could say something like if index equals to 0. I'll tell you what index is in just a bit. So if we're dealing with the first file, which will have an index of 0 in the loop, then we want to do merged, or yeah, we want to do this here. Merge is equal to merge plus content. Else merge is equal to merged plus new content plus that \. Now what is index? Index now could be, for index, file path n enumerate. That. So that is a list, and I'll show you what this does. Let's suppose we have the list of file paths, right? File paths, and which looks something like file 4.csv, file 5.csv, and so on. Let's keep it with 2 only. Now, when you do for index file path in enumerate file paths, index will be the index of each of these items. So this is a way to extract the index, and therefore we say if index is equal to 0, then we don't remove the header, so we use the content as it is. Otherwise, we use the new content which does not have the header. Right. And then finally we write the merged file in this file. So merge.csv, and we should be ready to run this. So run. Yes, we do get this error because it's trying to concatenate string with a list. So content here is a list and merged is a string. So we want to convert that content into a string, because you saw that content was something like ID and units and so on. We want to concatenate that using the join method, which works like this. If you have, for example, a small string such as a dot, and you say join, and this join method, if you give it a list as input and you have some lines such as A, B, C, some items D, E, F, and you execute this, the join method will make a string out of those items and it will join them with this dot. So if you had other items, the dot goes between the items always, as you can see here. Now if the dot is an empty string, what you get is this. So nothing is applied between the items, but still you get one single string. So now let's convert. Where do we do the conversion? Before we do that, before we append content to merged. So just before the first conditional, a string join content. So that is equal to content. You can override the existing variable. So write the string there. Currently we have the list, now we write the string. Content is equal to that. The same we do for the else part. New content is equal to that dot join new content. And then we append new content to merge. So run that. Go to merged and we get what we were asking for. So the header in the first line, then we have the first line with data, second, third, and then comes the data of the second file, and then comes the data of the third file. So that is the final code. Thank you for following, and I'll talk to you later. See you.